You may be asking yourself, what in the world does Jay-Z have in common at all with an African empire? Well, to be honest, he has a lot in common, and hopefully by the end of this video, you'll understand why. What up, African world? It's Home Team here, and I'm back at it with another video of African history, culture, and worldview. And as always, if you want to support the Home Team, you can do so on patreon.com. I have some new rewards for you guys, so be sure to check that out. Also, go to Afrographics.com, a website where you can find unique illustrative infographics summarizing African history. All links to Patreon, Afrographics, and Home Team merchandise are in the description box below. For a while now, some of you have been asking me to do some social commentary, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to start. But of course, if I do this, I'm always going to try and do it from a historical African perspective. The Jay-Z controversy concerning his partnership or deal with the NFL has created somewhat of a rift within our community, and I personally could not help but see the similarities between this situation and the history of the Congo Empire. I have my own bias about this situation, and throughout this video, it'll be readily available for you. But at an attempt to be fair, we don't really know the full details of the deal Jay-Z has with the NFL and what he plans to actually do with it. And that has been an argument some have been using to sort of justify his actions, while others, including Kaepernick himself, seem to feel a little betrayed. In my opinion, if we truly know the history of Jay-Z, we know that he's been giving us Trojan horse vibes for quite some time now, as he tends to use his social status or clout as capital, allowing white society to use him to economically exploit our community. But like I said, this is just how I internalize his actions. But what would be the point in comparing this historic event to African history? Well, it's important to know our history so we don't repeat them, because one African empire already tried a similar social and economic venture or partnership, and it ended up destroying the future of the entire state. In other words, if we know this history, we would be less likely to repeat it. And that's pretty much the point of this video. So I wanted to talk about the many similarities between Jay-Z's deal with the NFL and the kings of the Congo Empire. The Congo Empire was located in Central Africa and lasted for quite some time, from the 14th century all the way to about the 20th century. The Portuguese could not outright militarily take over in Congo, so they sent their missionaries and their religion to gain followers and seduce the Bakongo people into thinking they were all Christian brothers in the faith. Now, the missionaries didn't get much steam with the general public, as most people adhere to their own traditional religions. So in order for the Portuguese to really shape and mold Congo into what they wanted it to be and get a stronghold over that community, they had to convince the very elite, the Mani Congo, or the kings of the Congo Empire, the Trojan horse. And this sounds eerily similar to how Jay-Z was used as a sort of missionary to appease the black community in Brooklyn concerning the Nets. If you don't know what happened in that situation, you can just Google it. Anyway, the Portuguese managed to convert one Congolese king into the faith, and that led down a disastrous path for Congo. But not only did they convert him, he was a true adherent to the religion, and thus he tried to convince his people to view the Portuguese as brothers in Christ, even changing the structure of their society to suit the needs and concerns of the Portuguese who may have been offended by any Africanisms throughout the empire. Other Congo kings willingly participated in this tradition of appeasing the Portuguese, leading to constant civil war and even the eventual abandonment of the empire's capital. Now, if you've been following me for a while now, you know I've been super critical of this Congolese state, and I placed the destruction of Congo solely in the hands of the Mani Congo. As an Afro-descendant person who knows this history, there's no way you would want to repeat this in any form, especially if you own or control something of value, because you would know that historically there was always this string of unequal social, political, or economic exchange between Africa and the rest of the world, especially Europe. The motive of the Portuguese was twofold: to control the state of Congo, having full access to resources, and to mask their image as bloodthirsty conquerors to that of spiritual ally. And the Portuguese provided tremendous incentive to the kings of Congo to aid in this process. They provided goods and services, protection from rivaling rulers seeking to take the throne, and even Christian education for the children in Portugal, all expenses paid. And so, it becomes increasingly difficult for me to know this history and see the parallels with Jay-Z and his relationship with the NFL. In this deal, Jay-Z gets all the monetary gain and an ownership stake while he participates in the society's benign neglect of our needs and concerns. So to make this make sense, who represents who in this Jay-Z situation? Colin Kaepernick represents the people of the Congo Empire and the general black community. Jay-Z represents the kings of Congo or the Mani Congo, and the NFL represents the Portuguese. From what I gather, we can think of Jay-Z as the vessel the NFL can use to bring back their ratings, gain legitimacy by being on the right side of history, all the while ignoring the true needs and concerns of the people. Colin Kaepernick being a symbol for the black community's needs as mentioned before. The NFL knows that Jay-Z has that social real estate, if you will, just like the Portuguese knew that the Mani Congo or the kings of Congo had that social real estate, being able to influence the people nearly in totality and prepare them for slaughter and enslavement. The NFL can hide their true motives with the Jay-Z grab, like how the Portuguese masked their true motives with a religious grab. Well, what about the argument that this will eventually be beneficial to our community, or at least Kaepernick himself? I'm personally not sure about that. But at the end of the day, if we are to learn anything from African history, we will see that the Christian religion was used in a way that literally deteriorated the Congo Empire. The Portuguese disarmed the Congo kings with the Christian faith as they went on to literally enslave nobles from the region. It got so bad that one king, Mbemba Nzinga, wrote a letter to the Portuguese king about their disingenuous activities. However, his protests fell on deaf ears, as the Portuguese king at the time, King John III, showed no sympathy. Congo was only useful to him only as a source of slaves and revenue. With that being said, are we really to put so much faith in the idea that Jay-Z is going to change things from the inside, without them even rectifying their original grievance with Colin Kaepernick and standing with the black community on certain issues? It seems to me that the NFL wholesale sidestepped the issue altogether by investing in Jay-Z, putting on that Portuguese religious veil, just like how the Portuguese king sidestepped the disingenuous activities of enslaving the Congolese noblemen. The NFL and the Portuguese knew their end goal. The NFL knows the black community lived vicariously through him, just like how the Portuguese knew how much the people venerated their kings. I see so many parallels, and that's why, in my opinion, it's important for us to really take a look at our history and see the pitfalls of the past. I think because of the times we're in, we're given a unique opportunity to have this foresight, and we should take full advantage of that and drive our own social and political needs in a way that truly benefits us. Hopefully, I explained that well enough for people to see some of those parallels. I don't at all think this will be somehow beneficial to our community because of the history of Jay-Z allowing himself to be this Trojan horse. A big example of this would be his Brooklyn Nets deal and what he did with his own community, as I mentioned before. So from a strict historical African perspective, Jay-Z is our Mani Congo, turning a blind eye to our collective needs, while his pockets gets bigger, and it's important that we learn from this history and acknowledge this event as such. But that's just me. I'm really curious if you guys see these parallels and if that means anything to you at all. Well, I'm all out, guys. In the comments below, be sure to let me know your thoughts. And if you want to support the home team, you can do so on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.